Right, welcome. So, for the past year and a half, I was going about my day deliberately trying to improve my social skills because I went from someone who was socially awkward, who would get into a conversation and not be confident, who would get into a conversation and overthink every tiny word I'd say, to now being one of the most charismatic people I know, knowing lots more people, and not being scared to initiate conversations, not be scared of awkward silences or any of that. Because now I can talk to people very, very comfortably. And my life is much better now because of it. I make a lot more memories. I talk to a lot more people. I make a lot more friends. Life as a whole has improved. So I know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to making this transformation from going from a socially awkward guy who's shy, who's timid, to now someone who's more extroverted, who has more friends, who can network, who can get contacts, who can initiate things. I'm that guy now. So I had to learn and I had to find out different ways how I can go from someone who's shy to someone who's socially sharp and charismatic. And I started to implement things in my life that I would do daily to make this happen. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. This video is for someone who's sitting there behind the camera on the other side of the screen, who's socially awkward, who's shy, who's timid, who's scared to get into conversations, who feels like they're an outcast, to becoming someone who's a social beacon. That's what I call it. A social beacon is someone who's just that guy. Like, you go to a party, you'll see these social beacons walking around, introducing themselves, talking to people, going to different groups of people, getting contacts. Hey, you want to come to this place later? I might need you here. Shit like that. They're always talking to people, always being introduced. That's who you're going to become with these daily protocols that I've implemented into my life, and it works for me, so I know it works. And once you implement them into your life, you're going to realize that you are going to start to become one of these social beacons. So I'm just going to get straight into the first one. About a year and a half ago, I started to practice speaking because I was just trying to figure out ways to get good at it. Because I would get into conversations, I would talk to people, I would stutter over my words, I wouldn't speak in a way that makes people want to listen to me. Like, I would talk to people, but I would speak super, super slow, and the other person would kind of get bored and just turn away and talk to their friend. And on top of that, I knew that speaking was a superpower, because if you think about it, speaking is how presidents get into office. Speaking is how revolts are started. Speaking is a very powerful skill that if you master, it's going to garner you a lot of influence. So I was like, you know what? Knowing that I wanted to be an important person, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to get good at speaking. So that's what I started to do. But first I had to figure out, how do I get good at speaking? Well, there's public speaking. Maybe I can be one of these people that talk all day to their friends and get good that way. That's what I've noticed. People that are yappers, who speak to their friends, they're very good at speaking for some reason, because I have so many reps. But since I was an introvert, since I was socially awkward, I thought the best way to do it is to sit in the privacy of my own home, record myself speaking on camera, analyzing it, and improving each and every time. That's what I started to do. And at first I thought it wasn't going to work, but I'm telling you, as you can see now, I'm speaking on this camera flawlessly. This shit fucking works. So the first thing you need to start implementing into your day-to-day life is practicing speaking. Now, I don't want you to think this is hard. I don't want you to think that, yeah, it's going to be a burden. This is fucking easy. All you have to do is sit down in front of the camera for 2 minutes. Speak about any topic in the world. Speak about a topic that you're interested in. Speak about some stories that you've been through. Sit down, talk about it on camera, and I'm telling you, you're going to get better at speaking. It might be slow, it might be incremental, but inevitably you will get good at it. So yeah, you need to sit down in front of the camera and speak, but you also need to analyze what you're saying. Analyze where you made mistakes. Analyze where there's filler words. Remove them out of your speech. Try to speak with higher energy. Speak with higher intensity, speak faster, do all these things after you analyze it and try to improve it on the next run. Do this for 2 minutes every single day. Just analyze yourself, and I'm telling you, you're going to get extremely good at speaking like I am. And the second thing I'd start doing, this helped a lot actually. Now I don't freeze in conversations. Now I can speak in a way like I'm on a podcast. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen those interviews where actors are on podcasts or they're on Jimmy Fallon show or some shit. They're sitting there and they can just speak interestingly because they've actually practiced doing that. That's how you're going to be now in your day-to-day life. You're going to be sitting there speaking. People are going to ask you questions and you're going to answer it in an articulate manner. All right? So that's what practicing speaking is going to do for you. It's also going to help you not freeze in conversations. And it's going to make people pay attention. They're not going to turn away to their friends because you're speaking too slow anymore or you're super boring. They're going to start listening to you. And I've seen this happen in my day-to-day life. People that I would speak to that wouldn't listen to me now listen when I speak because they know I can say something in a succinct manner, in an entertaining way. So this shit works. It's not going to be overnight, but I'm telling you, if you do this daily, you're going to get very, very good at speaking. All right. Do this daily. The second thing I would start doing is that I would be trying my best to become an interesting person. First and foremost, why wouldn't you want to become an interesting person? You live life. You know you're going to die one day. Every single second, your time of your life is decreasing. And you're going to sit there and tell me you don't want to become an interesting person? Fuck you. I know that my time is here and temporary, so I might as well maximize it and become an interesting person to know. That's what I'd start doing. I'd recognize an issue. I was good at speaking, but I wasn't an interesting person. So I could say some boring shit in an interesting way. Like, I dropped my phone the other day. I could say that in a very articulate way, but who the fuck wants to talk about me dropping my phone on the ground? It's boring. So I need to become an interesting person. So how do you do that? Well, I didn't know how to do that for the longest time. But then, one day, I was sitting down and I watched this networking video on my laptop. And one of the tips he gave was to know a lot or know a little bit about a lot of things. So you just want to increase your general knowledge, this guy said on the camera. Because it was this millionaire. He goes around networking with people. He was teaching people. He made a video. He was like, yeah, you want to know a little bit about a lot of things. So what does that mean? It means like just have general knowledge. Know a little bit about scuba diving. Know a little bit about boxing. Know a little bit about the fucking aircraft industry. Just know a little bit so that when you get into a conversation, you can speak about anything. You can go up to a fucking construction worker and talk about cement, you know? So you want to know a little bit about a lot of things. That's going to make you much more interesting to talk to because you know all these cool facts. So I needed to implement that. So what I started to do was that I would, every day, and I still do this to this day, I would go on the news and I would go on CNN 10 and I would look for a fact, an interesting fact that I could just get. Like the interesting fact I learned today was that graduation for this one high school in the US is going to be spoken out by AI. So basically, you know, in graduation, they talk about the names and shit. And Josie McCaughlin, you know, they say all the fucking names. Derek Jeter, they say the names and the people walk the stage. That's going to be done by AI for this one high school in the US, and people are not happy about it. That's the interesting fact I learned, right? So I do this every single day, and it makes me much more interesting in conversation. I can sit there, speak about random shit, bring up random facts that change the topic, and have a discussion about that. And people are very captivated by that. So that's what I do every day. Another thing I do to become an interesting person is learn a new word every day. Like, I learned this new word just a few days ago, inexorable. It means like relentless. That's what it means. So I'm just learning all these fucking words to add to my vocabulary so that when I speak, I can just say a word. I don't have to sit there and pause or say some stupid word. I could sit there and be very precise with my language. That's also what I started to do. And what I would also do is become someone that's funny. Because a big part about being an interesting person, it's just being funny. If you can make a joke that lands, you're going to have more friends than you can count on your hands. So actually what I started to do, and I don't do this as much anymore, I probably should do it more, but I would watch stand-up comedy. I would sit down, I would just watch stand-up comedy while eating at nighttime or some shit, and I wouldn't analyze it, I wouldn't steal their jokes, but I would just pick up on their mannerisms subconsciously while watching it, and I ended up becoming much more funnier because of that. So if you start doing things that make you an interesting person, even going to social events, like a big part about being an interesting person is getting stories. You want to be someone filled with stories. There's no point in living a life without stories. If you're living and nothing interesting happens, you have no stories to tell, it's a sign that you're living a shit life. I don't want to live that life. I want to live a life filled with stories. Like just now, I could have went to a place, go eat with some people. I actually skipped that in order to make this video. But if you want more stories and you want to become an interesting person, then stories are extremely important. A lot of times you'll just be sitting down eating with the boys and you'll be talking about stories, and that'll be the whole conversation, and people are like attracted to it. The human brain cannot ignore stories because they're so interesting to listen to. So you want to be getting stories, and the way you get stories is by going to social events, going out to do things, go to the store, go out more often, go out to eat with some people. That's how you get stories, all right? And that's going to make you much more interesting. So make sure you're actually going out and doing shit. Don't be a fucking hermit in your house. So that's what I'd be doing also. If I want to go from socially awkward to socially sharp, I'd be out here becoming an interesting person and becoming good at speaking. Those two alone would take you far. But the last thing I'd say to do, if you want to become one of these social beacons, I'd start to initiate conversations with at least one person every single day. And that's what I did. I would go walk through my school. I would say, hey, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon to people walking by next to me. And that would get me into this rhythm of initiating conversations. It's extremely important to do. So if you want to become one of these charismatic guys, a big part of that is starting conversations. You should be very, very good at that. You should be very, very good at small talk. Hey, how are you? How's it going? Simple shit. So I started to do that, and I slowly started to become more comfortable talking to people. And what this does is that it changes your identity. It's more than building skills. It changes your identity as a whole. You go from someone who's shy, who doesn't talk to people, who's someone who says good morning, who asks how people are when you're walking by them. It changes your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone that's more social. And since you start seeing yourself that way, you start believing it. And once you start believing it, then you go out to talk to more people and your whole identity's changed. This is something that's going to happen over time, but I'm telling you, the more people you say good morning to, the more people you strike up a conversation with, the better it is for you as a whole. You're going to see yourself as someone who's more social. You're going to be building small talk skills and conversation skills. And on top of that, you're going to be meeting new people. Not just any people, you could be meeting important people. The other day, I saw my friend. My friend is more he's on the social side, I'd say. My friend, I saw him on an Instagram reel, and he was walking up to this one guy to play basketball against him at the court. And the guy, he was a coach, he was recording. So he just went up to him, he asked, hey, you want to play 1v1? That's what my friend asked. The guy was like, sure. And the whole time, I don't even think my friend knew this, he was recording the whole thing. And next thing you know, a month later, I go on my phone, I check, and my friend is on an Instagram reel with thousands of views because he just went up to someone, talked to them, asked if they wanted to play 1v1 in basketball, and now he has thousands of views. He's on a reel that has thousands of views. So he met an important person completely by accident. He didn't know that guy was a coach. He didn't know he had a social media following. He just went up to him, hey, we're gonna play 1v1. Just initiated a conversation. Now he knows an important person. So initiating conversations is a fucking great practice. It's gonna build your social skills. It's gonna make you more comfortable talking to people. It's gonna help you build small talk and conversation skills. It's gonna help you network, and your life as a whole is gonna improve because of that. So I know you're watching this. I highly recommend that if you're hearing everything I'm saying, you actually implement it into your life, and that you can go out there and on your deathbed know that you made memories, and talk about all the memories to your children. Talk about the time you went out with your brothers, some brothers alongside you. You went out and did some shit, and those are the memories you're going to talk about. But it's very important that you find these brothers. It's very important that you find that wife at the coffee shop and have children, and you can talk about shit to those children on your deathbed. You're not going to be able to do that if you're socially awkward and you're shy and timid. So these alone will take you extremely far. But there's a lot of little shit you need to know. There's a lot of lessons. There's a lot of things that I had to learn the hard way, that if you knew would save you a lot of fucking pain. And if you want to learn those things, they're in my program, the Communication Lab, in the description. That's where I'll help you completely and utterly change your identity and become charismatic. So you can check it out right there.